Hello everyone, welcome to another speed build video in The Sims 4. My name is Simon and it's so great to see you here. So in this week's video, I'm building a home for the Renovation Show, which is a challenge by fellow YouTuber, and now I'm gonna apologize up front because she doesn't commentate her videos, so I don't know how to properly pronounce her name, but it is Palakaslip or Palakaslip. So I know she's French, but this doesn't really help me pronounce the name. So I'm sorry if I butchered it, but that was my best guess. The background story for this challenge, however, involves a young couple that calls a TV production for help when they realize that the house they purchased for a cheap price actually turned out to be a nightmare and needs to be renovated completely. And this is where I come in. I'm the renovation team now, and I basically can do whatever I like. I just have to make this a pretty home for that young couple to live in. You can check the details of the challenge as well as the entire backstory on Palakaslip Instagram, but basically I'm allowed to do anything except for changing the exterior walls and the foundation height. The rest is pretty much up to me. And as you see, I removed everything already, so I didn't keep the roof structure. I decided to go into an entirely different direction with this one than the house that it was before. And my idea was to create something very modern with some influences from Middle and South American architecture. And a lot of the design elements that are characteristic for South American architecture are supposed to protect from the sun. And that was my main focus here. All the elements that I incorporated are shielding against the hot weather conditions. So I avoided direct sunlight into the interior, and for that I built a lot of awnings and shutters for the windows and these pergolas above the patios that are somewhat traditional, I understand, but I gave them a modern twist by using these steel arches in the front. Initially, I wanted the entire home to be basically the same color, to be made of concrete and metals alone, and then add color with the decorations, specifically the flowers that I would add on the concrete planters outside. But then I found the outside a little bit too drab, and I decided to change up the color theme a bit, and I changed the swatches from the wooden beams that I turned into the pergola, also the awnings, and gave them like a reddish brown look, and that served as a great contrast to the concrete. And also the flowers that are now red, I later changed the color to pinks and purples. I love the red flowers, especially in the desert, but I felt like here there wasn't enough contrast. It was just like too many warm colors. The concrete is somewhat warm, and then you have the warm red. And I wanted to create some contrast. And what's more of a contrast than purple flowers against the yellow desert sand? You'll see later on what a vast difference that makes, really. And here I'm building what I consider to be the star of this house. It's the backyard. It has a pool area and also, again, a little patio and a lot of plants. And I was so happy to use the Strangerville foliage here. It's just so gorgeous. I love the cacti. They add so much character to this and also contribute to the this South American, Middle American kind of vibe, which I really, really love. And I have never had a real opportunity to use these before, so I was really, really happy to finally do this here. And this entire backyard kind of turned into an oasis of sorts. It wasn't fully intended, but I later, when I realized that, I leaned into it, that it is also like a stark contrast to the front of the lot, which is, or basically the house in general, which is just a concrete block or many concrete blocks and boxes stacked on each other. And then the backyard is this beautiful oasis that is full of beautiful plants and flowers, and is super lush and has the pool area that you just want to hang out at. This is also where I incorporated another like traditional element that you will see me do in a moment. I got myself some no custom content tiles from the gallery. I'll link to them in the description below. And with those tiles that are actually paintings, I covered the entire foundation, the inside that is facing towards the pool, and because there's no real paint for that, right? And I didn't want it to be the concrete alone, but have a little bit more interest to it. And this was a perfect way to both add interest and add a traditional element. And I think it was a little bit of work, but it was worth it. And once you have like your template ready, it's actually not that difficult anymore. So what I did was I downloaded the room that is actually a wall that has all the tiles on it, and I then took the one tile that I wanted, put it on a separate wall, and I repeated that process until I had about like 10 tiles, and then I saved that extra piece of wall where I collected all of the tiles on, and copied that to my library so that I could just like place it over and over again, and I didn't have to do that again. So with a little trick and a little preparation, you can really get that done relatively quickly, and it's really worth it. It's a little bit more effort, but a little bit more effort that goes such a long way, because it just customizes the entire thing, adds a unique look, adds interest, adds tradition, adds references, and it's just really fun. I only wish that I had the exact tile that I was using on the fence. So there's this city living fence that has like a tile in the middle that I'm using for the outside of the backyard, and I didn't find like the exact thing on the gallery. Like the ones that I use now, I think they are taken from the wallpaper tile that came with some base game update, but I couldn't find like the city living tiles anywhere on the gallery. So maybe if you know where to find that, you could maybe tell me. That would be kind of nice for the future. Like there you just saw that the tile is not the exact same from the fence, but you know, you can't have everything. I think the one that I use is pretty close to it, and it doesn't have to be matchy, so I'm not really mad about it. But I think it would have just added a tiny little bit more cohesion, but I'm fine with that, really. Here we are in the front yard, and I made this a little bit more natural. Like it's kind of blends in with the surrounding nature around the lot, and at that point, I realized that I might have overdone it a little bit with all the grass that I used, and it kind of looked like it wasn't really renovated. Like it was sitting there for years and years and years, and was just overgrown a little bit. And that's the point where I decided to reduce it a little bit. So here I didn't film that, so you see like later on that I changed a couple of plants and reduced the amount of brown grass that I used. Well, as I said, it was no longer looking like a renovation. And yeah, and here we are at the point where I also decided to change from red to purple and pinks. That happened when I realized around that giant cactus outside that I placed the pink flowers there, and that it looked so pretty that I needed to do that for the entire lot. And yeah, I'm very happy with that decision I made. It's such a great difference, such a stark contrast to the surroundings and to the lot in general, to the home. Yeah. And I'm also adding house numbers here in a traditional tile. I picked 127. It doesn't have a meaning. I was thinking of a meaning, and I couldn't think of anything fun or an appropriate reference. So I just picked like random numbers that I didn't have to duplicate. I could have maybe picked the deadline for the challenge, or maybe 11, because this is my 11th video that I'm posting, but it's too late now. And here we are on the inside, and for the interior I picked a continuing color theme of blue and orange. Again, complementary colors, very striking. And yeah, I used the tile here that is again supposed to be a traditional element, and then the modern bathroom. I used the concrete planters again, the hanging ones from Eco Lifestyle, to create like a kind of a structure behind the sinks that you could put some stuff on. And I used all the reddish woods, which then is the contrast, is serving as the orange that is opposing the blue. In line with the idea of building for a hot climate, I decided to have the layout of the house, the interior, pretty much open, and not on this floor, not on the second floor, because there's only a bathroom and a bedroom, and obviously you need some separation there, so for some privacy. But the downstairs is actually completely open. And here I'm building a custom closet, which is one of my favorite things to do in the game. I think there are so many options for this, and it's again such an easy way to customize a build. Yeah, I really love the outcome. I used like windows as sliding doors there, and yeah, have them open. So it's I really like the look of it. And here, this is something I've seen people do on Instagram a lot in their builds, that I know there are like leaning paintings that you could like just place, and you don't have to use tool for that, but a lot of people do that themselves by using tool and rotating the normally hanging paintings a little bit in a small degree, so that they actually look like they would be leaning against the wall. And I did that here, and this was a lot of work. I don't know if I will do that again, because I'm not so happy with it that I'm saying like, oh my god, this is the thing, I have to do that every time, no matter how much time it takes. And it was a little bit to figure out. I cut most of it out though, because this is just a lot of like clicking and trial and error, and I don't like to keep that in the video because it's very boring. But it took a moment, and I don't know, the ratio of like effort to like beauty of the outcome is not right for me. I don't know. I rather spend my time on other things and use the leaning paintings that are in the game. We're in the kitchen now. Again, I incorporated some tiles, and they are practically the only color that is not like furniture. So all the floors and walls are actually kept as concrete, and then I wanted to add the color with only the tiles and all the decorations and furniture. So that is the idea behind that. Okay, so the challenge is still open until I believe April 15th. You can check Palakuzlip Instagram for the details, as I said earlier. For that, I also have a challenge. I'm hosting a challenge right now. It's a room challenge on Instagram, so you might want to check that out if you're not following me there yet. You can find the post there on my Instagram at Taffissimo_builds, and the challenge is called Bay Window 2K. So you just scroll down a couple of entries, a couple of posts, and then you see it there. I also did another challenge, one by Kate Emerald, and I won't make a video of that though. I didn't film the building process, and I'm really not in the mood to make this giant build a stop motion video. So if you're interested in that, check also my Instagram. I have a couple of very pretty pictures of it there. It's an eco apartment complex, and you can also find that on the gallery, as you can find all of my builds there. My ID is Taffissimo, just as the name of this channel. And yeah, please like, subscribe, comment down below what you think of this build. Stay tuned for the house tour that is following. And if Palakuzlip is watching this, I hope you like what I did with your challenge. You all have a great day, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!
Bye.